Hi, Propane Pete here, and like many thousands of other sim racers around the world, I've had continuous problems with my Logitech G Series pedals, fluctuating uh, throttles, fluctuating brakes, and so on. The Logitech G25, G27, G29, G920, and G923, the latest pedal sets, all share the same problematic potentiometers. So they all share the same problems. So you would think, well, that's not a problem. Let's just order a couple of spare units from Logitech and we'll be fine. But it's not as simple as that. When you go onto the Logitech website, they state quite clearly that they do not supply any spare parts at all for any of these products. None at all, which is pretty bloody ridiculous, really, and I don't know how they legally get away with it. But anyway, that's the way it is. So what happens? We all end up dismantling our pedal boxes and we take out our potentiometers, we strip them down, clean them out with a circuit board cleaner and cotton buds, and now that works okay for a while, but in the end, the contact surfaces wear out and you're back at square one. So, what's the alternative? Is there one? Well, yes, there is. 3D Wrap in Italy make replacement potentiometers for the G Series Logitech pedals. So I was having trouble with my brake. I ordered a couple from Italy. They arrived and I fitted one. And that's what this video is all about. My experience with replacing the original potentiometers with these units from 3D Wrap. I had a look through the internet and through the on YouTube, and I couldn't find any videos at all on anybody who had reported back on these units. And a few people asked me how it all went, so I thought the best thing to do was just knock up this crappy little video, post it up, so it might be of help to anybody. So let's have a look. So I fitted up the 3D Wrap unit to my brake pedal and everything went really well for a couple of weeks. And then one day I'm out cruising the German countryside in my Nissan GT-R, having a lovely time, and then, whoa, this happened. Off in the weeds, round and round, grandchildren in the back seat, getting dizzy, beer in the boot getting thrown around. So what happened? Well, this is what happened. The brakes suddenly came on as I went around that left-hander, and it threw me off the track. And pumping the brake pedals up and down made no difference at all. It just stayed where it was. So out with the trusty old tools and see what happened. Okay, I won't go into great detail here about dismantling the pedal units. 3D Wrap have an excellent tutorial on YouTube about dismantling these pedal units and removing the standard Logitech units and replacing them with their 3D Wrap units. So I've left a link to that below. That video is far better than anything I could produce here on the kitchen table. But anyway, we're pulling it apart. There's 14 screws in the back. They're all just about out now. I wish I could work as quick as this normally. Well, maybe not. Anyway, we've got the screws out, turn it over. And now this is where you've got to be a little bit careful with the wiring loom. Just lift the case off and see the two screws here, just there. They've got to come off. They hold the wiring loom in place and it's a little bit sensitive there. So remove those two screws and then you'll be able to lift the case off, put it aside, and then you'll have full access to the pedals. So there we are, we've got full access to the pedals. Now what went wrong? So now here's the brake pedal, there's the 3D wrap potentiometer unit there on the side, and you can see the gear, a little quadrant gear has come off. This little 3D wrap quadrant gear, the red one, there's two reds actually, it goes onto that spline and it's held on by a very tiny little grub screw, which you'll see in a sec. So it's just lying there. There's the quadrant gear, and there's this tiny little grub screw. So nothing's broken. There's nothing stripped. The spline's fine. The gear's fine. So I'm going to put it all back. It's obviously just slipped off. So I probably didn't have it tight enough. So it's going back on now. I'm just tightening it up. And yeah, that should be enough. Yeah. Nah, let's give it a bit more. Just another little tweak. And once we're done that, we can hook that little black spring you can see there. That'll come over that little tab, and that'll be the return spring. So, and there it is now. But now there's a little bit of an issue. Now, this is the way it works. I didn't actually quite put it on far enough there, but have a look at the spring. It's on a funny angle, and I think it's pushing a little bit sideways on the quadrant gear, which after a time might have dislodged it. So I did actually put that gear back on a little bit better off camera. Now, this is the standard Logitech potentiometer, and this is the way the spring sits. As you can see, it does sit a lot better than on the 3D unit, but it's not going to be a great problem. Anyway, put it all back together, and there we go. Everything works fine. Now, one thing I do need to mention is when I originally fitted up the 3D wrap unit, I wasn't quite getting full throttle. There is a slight difference in the arc of the standard unit and the 3D wrap unit, I think. So to overcome that, I trimmed, first of all, 5 millimeters off the little rubber artificial field block that fits up underneath the brake pedal return spring. That wasn't quite enough, so I trimmed another 5 mil off, so that's 10 mil altogether. I had to trim off that little rubber block, and that gave me that extra couple of degrees of arc that allowed me to get full 100% resistance in the potentiometer, which is full brake. So after that was fine. It did, however, affect my ability to do heel and toe downshifting. The brake pedal had a little bit more travel, and I still haven't trained my ankle to twist around that extra 10 mil, but I'm working on it. So how did it go? How do I rate the 3D wrap units? Well, they're cheap, they're very easy to fit, they're quite well made, and they're readily available. A couple of little issues with the little grub screw, as I pointed out earlier, but you can get around that. So all in all, I give them the thumbs up. Well, that's it. I hope this might have been of help to somebody. So, cheers.